Neville Goddard, Power of Awareness, Chapter 10, Creation. I am God declaring the end from the beginning, and from ancient times things that are not yet done. Isaiah 46:10. Creation is finished. Creativeness is only a deeper receptiveness for the entire contents of all time and all space, while experienced in a time sequence actually coexist in an infinite and eternal now. I have been repeating this quite a bit. We're finally arriving. Wonderful. What a great opening sentence. Creativeness is only a deeper receptiveness. Of course, the first sentence, creation is finished. All his works are done, right? Creativeness is only a deeper receptiveness for the entire contents of all time and all space, while experienced in a time sequence, actually coexist in an infinite and eternal now. In other words, all that you ever have been or ever will be, in fact, all that mankind ever was or ever will be, exists now. Can you guess where that now is? Right there. That's now. That's the eternal now. It's the only moment that exists. And I'm not exaggerating. If it's a moment, that's a long time. It's only ever now. You are only ever now. I'd like to see any one person prove that you're not now. You're only now. I don't care how many photo albums you have or pictures or stories. You're only in a now. Everything is manufactured from the instant moment, from the very, very moment. Okay, your self-concept exists here, mine here, hers there, another's there, on and on. We know all these are self-concepts from the eternal now. I am all that is God. That's now. We are of him, so we are now as well. In other words, all that you have ever been or ever will be, in fact, all that mankind ever was or ever will be, exists now. Every single version of yourself, whether it be self-concept or full living life, all exists in one moment now. This is what is meant by creation, and the statement that creation is finished means that nothing is ever to be created. It is only to be manifested. What is called creativeness is only becoming aware of what already is. You simply become aware of increasing portions of that which already exists. The fact that you can never be anything that you are not already, or experience anything not already existing, explains the experience of having an acute feeling of having heard before what is being said, or having met before the person being met for the first time, or having seen before a place or thing being seen for the first time. The whole of creation exists in you, and it is your destiny to become increasingly aware of its infinite wonders and to experience ever greater and grander portions of it. The whole of creation exists in you, and it is your destiny to become increasingly aware of its infinite wonders and to experience ever greater and grander portions of it. Whichever portion you're experiencing now, it's your destiny to consistently upgrade. There is nothing wrong with consistently upgrading. When you become aware of what that newer car has as far as features is concerned, and they seem magnetically pulled to your attention, it's your destiny to be in the experience of those features. You wouldn't become aware of them if you didn't have already experienced them. Excuse my English. If you haven't already experienced them, you wouldn't see them in the first place. You would never become aware of that newer version of that car you have now. And once you become aware of it, that means you already drove it. Once you're aware of being married, that means you already are married. Once you become aware of wanting wealth, you already are wealthy. Once you become aware that health exists, you're already healthy. You exist there already. It's a little bit more specific than when we say, all his creations are done. All versions of you exist in one simultaneous moment, which is definitely the truth. Also verified by Seth, the Seth material. It's all one moment. When you're aware of it, when it's in your cognition, then it exists. That's the moment of awareness of it existing. It is there. It's ready for you. Literally ready for you. If creation is finished, and I might be repeating, such a wonderful topic. If creation is finished and all events are taking place now, the question that springs naturally to the mind is, what determines your time track? That is, what determines the events which you encounter? And the answer is your concept of yourself. Your concept of yourself. This determines. Concepts determine the route that attention follows. Here's a good test to prove this fact. Assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled and observe the route that your attention follows. Assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled and observe the route that your attention follows. I woke up yesterday and all of a sudden these different things were not just in my YouTube feed, but that had my full awareness and concentration. And they were a completely different subject than I've ever even dabbled with. But I watched this guy's video and it was so profoundly attracting me that I watched another one of his videos right away and I was like, wow, there's something right there. I knew that I had the meditation that I had excuse me, the meditation I did the night before, I knew had an impact. And I knew by virtue of my attraction to those two particular videos that I was in this new self-concept. I knew because the attraction to what I would watch here is completely different than what I was watching that morning. And incidentally, last night when I went to bed, I saw those in my history and I'm like, in the evening of the day, I didn't want to watch those. I had already had a full day and done all these activities. But in the morning, it was right when I woke up, right after the meditation, on that kind of subject. But they grabbed my attention. So I was there, fourth dimensionally. And in those two videos, they were the topic of what I would be involved with in that fourth dimension. So I have graduated. Assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled and observe the route your attention follows. Same thing with my videos I was watching. You will observe that as long as you remain faithful to your assumption, so long will your attention be confronted with images clearly related to that assumption. For example, if you assume that you have a wonderful business, you will notice how in your imagination your attention is focused on incident after incident relating to that assumption. It's a nice assumption. Friends congratulate you, tell you how lucky you are. Others are envious and critical. From there, your attention goes to larger offices, bigger bank balances, and many other similarly related events. Persistence in this assumption will result in actually experiencing, in fact, that which you assumed. Persistence. The same is true regarding any concept. If your concept of yourself is that you are a failure, you would encounter in your imagination a whole series of incidents in conformance to that concept. Thus, it is clearly seen how you, by your concept of yourself, determine your present, that is, the particular portion of creation which you now experience, and your future, that is, the particular portion of creation which you will experience. It can't be end of chapter. It can't be stated enough. Chapter 10, Creation, Power of Awareness. It can't be stated enough. Where you put your attention, your life goes. Your self-concept right here is everything you're experiencing. You want to change your experience? You must change this self-concept. It must be changed into the one that fits your desire. But to do so, you impress upon your subconscious the desire of that which you see yourself fulfilling. You see yourself in the activity of it. You feel what it feels like while you're falling asleep. Back to the ladder concept. You're doing it while you're falling asleep. You're impressing your subconscious. Then this will be abandoned. This self-concept here will be abandoned. You will become the new one. You will see a completely different view of your YouTube feed or whatever you're watching or what have you. Certain people will have a certain voice. Certain voices will fall out of your earshot and new voices will come in. New voices that want to be a bridge of incidents for your newfound wealth will give you new ideas. Put some money here, buy some of this, invest in that. These other voices that were crying poor me all the time, they'll be disappearing. You'll literally hear the old voice will just almost as if it marches in the complete distance, opposite direction. Then a newer voice will come into your world and it'll just be like a new track. It'll be like one song that doesn't make any sense anymore, just goes away. Because you change the self-concept and you become the new concept. Then a new song comes in and you're like, whoa, I never heard that before. There's a new tune going on here. Well, let me assume that now I have to do this, this, and this. Let me assume as I'm falling asleep that in my awakened state, I am happily married. What is it that I'm going to be doing, assuming I'm happily married? I'm going to get up, going to make breakfast for my spouse. I'm going to get up, we're going to work, we're going to eat lunch together because we're self-employed. We're going to get done with work. We're going to go out to dinner because we make so much money, too much money, because we're self-employed and we both believe in our own business. We live and breathe our assumptions about our constant improving life. This becomes this, this becomes this, this becomes this, this becomes this, becomes this. It never ends. There is nothing limiting your changing of self-concepts. It's just simply knowing that your self-concept is what has the limitations, not you. You are here. Your self-concept is the limiting portion of you. So, but you can change that by putting the impression onto the subconscious of that self-concept. That self-concept is not your enemy. It's a blessing to have that self-concept. You made it this far, jumping through self-concepts, and now you've arrived at one, and now you become aware of this material, and now you know how to change that self-concept consciously. Don't be mad at anybody. There's nobody to be mad at. Not even yourself. You got here somehow. That's a good place to be. That's some good credit necessary. I mean, you should really, because you do deserve it. You do deserve the credit. You got yourself here wonderfully. You got yourself here unconsciously. Now that you're conscious of how to change this self-concept, now you can simply apply all the formulas we've discussed and arrive where it is your desire wants to take you. It sounds simple, doesn't it? Sometimes it seems so easy when others are doing it. When you read of others doing it, when you see some people on YouTube or wherever else claiming that all you have to do is this and all you have to do is that, it's easy to point a finger at them because they put in more time than you maybe or whatever it is. Time has nothing to do with nothing. Whether it's somebody who's practiced a little longer than you or shorter than you or whatever, you're a self-concept and I'm a self-concept. Our self-concepts might be different, but they both have limitations. They both have a constant desire to want to ascend to another experience. You can go into the ascension of your next experience anytime with any effort. It doesn't matter if it's a lot of hard effort or a little effort. It's as soon as you self-persuade yourself that it's possible, that's all it takes. How much time does it take me to self-persuade myself that this is possible and doable by me? How much time does it take you to self-persuade yourself that this is possible and you're going to change your self-concept and become the new one you desire? How much persuasion does it take? How much effort does it take for you to self-persuade? Can you persuade yourself that this is possible? That's all we're talking about here. We're not talking about much more than that. We're talking about the simple act of, and I'd like that somebody else on another video I saw on YouTube, another teacher made a comment about that Neville would talk about when you accept it. The acceptance. I like the self-persuasion, But the acceptance is also a very, very valid point. Once you can accept that it's okay for you to change and that you have the power to do it, then you do. But only when you realize that this kind of works together. When you realize I am him and him is me, then I have the same power and I can do the works of him. That kind of all kind of goes together. So there it is. Power of Awareness, Chapter 10, Creation. Whew. Maybe a page worth of words. I mean, a page and a tiny bit, and it said a lot. All right, we'll see you in the next chapter.